What's good? What's up, my lovely, beautiful guys, gals, non binary pals? It's an honor, really, to be back in your ear, loving on your mind, because it's always an honor to be back in your ear, loving on your mind. This is Amani's Infinite Love. I talk about love and just all the things about surrounding that. It's the whole world full of love. So it's amazing every time that we talk about love and to share my love with you as well. And today I actually want to talk about something that has been a bit of a challenge for me lately, which is the topic of safety. You know, people are saying safety and like kind of throwing that word out there of, oh, this person, I feel emotionally safe with this person, or, you know, just things like that. And I'm always questioning things. What does that mean? How does that feel? What is that like? And it's been a lot very prominent now more than ever in my life, especially like I said with some decisions I've been having coming up, and just how to navigate in the unknown. Because when you're navigating in the unknown, I think fear is a natural response into that world when you have so many questions, when you just don't know some things. So I really want to talk about that and some things that I found, little whimsical knowledge, some ancestral wisdom, and just some fucking around and finding out I've done lately. So let's talk about it. But first, I like to start off the episodes with some deep breaths. Just 3 because breathing is important, and I love to bring the consciousness into our breath. So let's do 3 deep breaths. Inhaling in for 3 seconds, exhaling out for 3 seconds through our mouth. No holding, just pura vida, right? Okay? You ready? Okay. Crack some bones first. Kind of did that before the episode, but if you haven't, I think it's important because osteoporosis and shit. I don't know. Okay. So, inhale 3 times. Exhale 3 times. Let's get it. Inhale. Exhale. Oh yeah, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. That was beautiful. I love our breaths. I love the way we breathe on this podcast. It's amazing, man. I feel refreshed. Just how I felt when I was thinking about the wisdom that I was given. Because as I mentioned a little bit briefly, that now I'll get into a little bit more, is, you know, I've traveled quite a lot. And sometimes I would think that this traveling thing could get a little bit easier as far as knowing when to let go, when my time at a place may be up, and moving on into the next destination. And for a bit more context, I've been to 11 countries now. Some just living, some just traveling. I'm more of a slow traveler, but I like to, I like to take my time when I do explore the things. And it's always more of an intuitive feeling that I travel with. And that's also why I'm not a travel influencer, or maybe I just don't talk about it as much as people think I would, especially with how much I travel. But I really go places intuitively. You know, when I went to Mexico, the whole reason why I went there was based off a meditation that I had, where I felt led, I felt called. My spirit literally told me my heart's in Mexico. And so I went to Mexico, lived there for 8 months, started traveling more in South America. Now I'm here in Southeast Asia. And honestly, I've just been having questions coming up of just like sensing that maybe it may be time to move. Maybe it may be time to travel, to go abroad again, and to broaden my horizons. And like I said, I would think that maybe that would get easier because I've done it quite a few times, been at a place for a while, and I'm like, okay, I think this is enough for me, and I feel that calling to leave. But it's a little bit different this time around, I believe, because Southeast Asia, especially here in Thailand, is the first place I say I would really call home in a sense, because this is like the first place I have my apartment and my home, and I've settled a little bit more deeply into this land than with others. I'm not just traveling, I've really been living here. So I went into a meditation recently because I just felt a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit overstimulated, and also just questioning of where am I going to go? Where should I go? Why am I feeling this way? You know, I just had a lot of questions. And so I just needed to take some time to meditate, to breathe, to cut out the distractions, cut out the noise, and just be with myself. And I felt an ancestral spirit come to me. One of my grandfathers came to me, and he told me he had a message for me. And so I invited him into my meditation. And what he told me was really profound. And I think about this very, very often now, like every day, because it was such a deep message, but he said it so simply. He said, you know, to find safety in the unknown, you have to know what is known. And at first I didn't really understand. I'm like, how am I supposed to know? No, right? If it's unknown. But then he guided me back to childhood. He asked me, what times did I feel safe as a child? And I thought about it. I thought about some times with my dad when we'll be just laying in the bed watching movies, or sometimes with my mom when she would listen to me when something came up for me, or even like my childhood best friend, just the way that he always cared for me and just had this camaraderie aspect to him that is just so admirable in a person. And I knew that he truly loved me for me. He was always there for me, always showed up for me, always there to play with me, you know, just do whatever. That was my bro, you know. And I was thinking about all these times in childhood, and times that I felt safe, times that also I didn't feel safe, that I didn't feel safe to be vulnerable or safe to be fully me. And I sat with that. I really sat with those feelings, because I think for the first time it really allowed me to articulate safety and that sense of what it really felt like. Because I didn't really connect all those dots when people would bring up these terms of safety and emotional safety. To me, I felt like it was more of something that I had to be looking for within others. Oh, do I feel safe with this person? Actually, let me re-articulate that into what my brain was really thinking. Do I feel safe with this person? I didn't really articulate the I. You know what I mean? I wasn't focused on me and how do I really feel. I was always looking outwards as to what is this person making me feel. But really and truly, no one can make you feel anything. You know, this is an experience that we have. People can bring certain things out of us. And that's what I learned from that beautiful wisdom that one of my ancestors told me. To find safety in the unknown, you have to know what is known. And that really stuck with me. And I felt led to share this because, like I said, I think a lot of people are talking about safety and all this stuff, but haven't really found a sense to be able to articulate it and to really break it down and make it relatable. I'm no psychiatrist or therapist. I'm just a vivid and curious learner of life for life. So this is why I've created this space of Amani's Infinite Love, to share what I've learned, to have discussions, and to spark enlightenment and love within you, because this is a journey that you're on as well. And if you're tuning in here right now, right here, then you in it with me on this journey. There's so many things right now in the world that are unknown. Look at what's happening around us. So many crazy things, so many great things, so many wild things, so many things. Sometimes I get so overstimulated. That's why I be having to just check out and meditate. Really, it's so important because, oh my God, it's like everything every day is always coming on the feed. And we just need to take more time to come offline and come inside. Ooh, bars. Okay. Yeah. Write that. Write that in the song. Write that down. You should be writing down anyway. I'm having some good notes. But with all these things going on, when you having decisions coming up, like I had when it comes to maybe traveling or, expanding my horizons a little bit more, then you want to learn to cut out the noise. That's when you really need a sense of safety. So I want to break it down a little bit more and to how I've been giving myself a framework of safety now that I was able to articulate it when I was able to go back into childhood, because everything always goes back to childhood. And I believe that's also why my ancestor prompted that message to think of times that I felt safe as a child, to really remember those times. Like I felt it so vividly. Even when I was thinking about my childhood best friend, I had to text him again. I'm like, yo, bro, I just had to show him some love. Like, man, you're such a great friend. Like, you're such a great person. Like, the level of love and care that I felt with him always sticks with me. Always, because you remember people who have a heart so pure and so genuine, and with the light so bright, and then just you never forget that. You never forget how people make you feel, and I'll never forget him. And so when I was reconnecting back with those sense of safety I felt as a child, I was unlocking some memories for me, and unlocked parts of me that I didn't even know fully, but I got to meet those parts of me again, to talk with them, almost like I went back in time, and I was asking myself, like, oh, how did this make you feel? Where did you feel it? What did you think about? What were you doing? Like literally going back in time, in a sense, to have this new epiphany, or maybe not even epiphany, but just this awareness as to what I've been feeling when I'm in the unknown. How do I feel safe? So then I reconnected back with what safety felt to me. It felt like love. It felt like home. In a sense that I was protected. In a sense that I was cared for. In a sense that no matter what happened, there was a judgment-free zone. No matter what I said, no matter what I may have did, it was always met with care, with compassion, consistently. That's what safety felt like to me as a child. And I'm grateful that I was able to reconnect with those memories of what it felt like and how it showed up for me. Because then it helped me define some moments when I really didn't feel safe, where I felt like I had to walk on eggshells, or that I couldn't be myself fully, And I think that's when things would start to feel tense for me. I noticed that when I don't feel safe, things get tense for me. I start feeling tense inside because I'm wondering what is going on. Why am I feeling all weird? I don't really feel like I can be me right now, or I don't know what's happening. Is there some kind of attack or some kind of ulterior motive with someone? And how it shows up within others, within myself, and also how I allow others to show up for me. So now that I'm redefining the sense of safety, it's allowed me to show up for myself so much better. Now I'm learning to build systems where I connect with safety, where I feel safety, where I am getting to know the knowns within the unknown. So that for me has been showing up in forms of doing this podcast. Because for me, it is so important and so vital for me to create something, whether that's a beat, whether that's a podcast, whether that's a poetry, some poetry. I don't know. I need to create. I'm a creative person. And so I notice moments in my life when I'm not creating things or when I'm feeling stagnant. It's because I'm not creating things. I don't have a system for creativity. I'm not nurturing that side of me, and I don't feel like myself. And then I start questioning everything and everyone around me, and what am I doing with my life? Why am I here? Blah, blah, blah. I start wilding out internally because I'm screaming for creativity. And it gets me out of the realm of me. I don't have a sense of myself, so when I'm not, it really knocks me off my balance, and I notice that, and it starts to weigh on me, and I really start feeling it more heavily the more time passes by when I'm not creating nothing. So I learned a sense of safety within that, with nurturing my passions, to stick to a schedule of recording for my podcast. I started blocking out the first hour within my day. As soon as I rise up, I have free range to create whatever I want, not to feel obligated to do a certain thing or to even just sit on my phone doom scrolling. Like, no, the first hour is now reserved for creativity. I can create whatever I want to create, some art, a podcast, poetry, whatever. That's my time. It's just these little shifts as I'm starting to know myself more and I'm starting to know what safety means. It feels a lot better for me. And I feel that it's been working a lot more because it allows me to nurture myself and feel safe, to come home to myself. And I also am sharing this not just because I want to share. Of course I want to share my experience, but may whatever you and your journey be asking you for call you back to what is home. Where do you feel safe? How do you feel it? Think back to your childhood. Where are some times that you felt safe, where you felt protected, where you felt loved, where you felt cared for, where you felt nourished, where you felt not judged for what you was going to say, what you was going to do, where you just was met with total love, total curiosity, and full emotional availability. How did that show up for you in your childhood? What was that like? And I understand that you may not have had the best childhood. Maybe those times where you felt safe was very low compared to the number of times where you didn't feel safe. Well, then what was that like? How did that show up for you? How did that show up in your body? What feelings did you feel? And also, how are you carrying that weight into now? Because when we go back into the past, connect with our childhood self and do these time traveling things that we can do, right? And unlocked some answers. Then we can fast forward, come back to the here and now and ask ourselves, how did that timeline affect everything that is going on right now? Like I said, I didn't even really articulate safety and what that meant for me before. So now when I went back into the past, connected with my childhood self, and then met myself here again at this time, what was coming up for me was how I wasn't really nurturing me because I was expecting someone else to give me safety. Because I kept expecting that maybe if I kept showing up, then this person will accept me and then I could be me more. I was afraid to be myself in a lot of situations because I'm still trying to gauge another person, or because I'm still trying to please them before I can fully feel myself. But that isn't safety. That's manipulation. That's still me hiding, because I believe that safety doesn't require you to feel like you can't be yourself. And of course, when we're first meeting people, when we're first talking to people, it doesn't mean we have to tell them everything and, just full on blast out of everything. But it does mean that we don't feel restricted. We don't feel judged. We can start to open up parts of ourselves with vulnerability and when authentically, and not feel restricted in those ways that we can't be our authentic self. So I saw myself now and how some situations that I've been in didn't foster safety, because I showed up for people who really wasn't showing up for me. And now I'm learning to take a step back, because I'm seeing people's capacity for what it is, not what I want it to be, not what I think it should be, not what I hope it to be, for what it is. Just for what it is. Because I learned that I can't keep idealizing people's capacities for me. I learned that when someone shows me something for the first time, I have to trust that. And I have to not just accept it, but come to the awareness of acceptance. Of what am I accepting? Because just because someone may not have the capacity for what I may want to have with them, like a full-on friendship where we're hanging out, where we're chatting more, where we get to do more things together, maybe they're at a time in their lives where they can't really meet me at that place. Maybe they're at a time where all they can do right now is just send a text every now and then. And I learned that just because someone may have the capacity doesn't mean, this isn't going to work out because I really want more friends and connections. Well, maybe that's just all they can offer. And that's okay. So I've noticed with this acceptance, it's been I feel like it's been allowing me to move on with more confidence into what I'm really doing. Not in search or in hopes for something, but just in the known. Because bringing back into that quote of what my grandfather told me, finding safety in the unknown, you have to know your knowns. So when I'm able to know more about a person, about their capacity, then it has been allowing me to move on with a sense of confidence. Because now I know. And now it allows me to feel more safe in my body, not just because of what they're giving me, but because of what I know and because I know more of who I am. I found that safety is really just a matter of you. Even as I look through relationships, even as I look through friendships and all these connections, I see that it's really me. It's you. No one is going to come out here, even if someone came out here and was like, hey, make space just for you to feel safe. Would you believe them? Probably not. Because you have to feel it. No matter what they say or what they do, you have to feel it. Because even then, people could really be out here creating spaces for you to feel safe, but internally, if you are still in this survival mode mentality, you're not going to feel safe. I've experienced that as a receiver, as well as the person not feeling safe. And speaking from the receiver side, it definitely does not feel good. I don't think it feels good for either party, when you're really opening up yourself to be vulnerable with someone and they still feel like you have something against them, or there's like some kind of battle between you guys because they're still in survival mode mentality. They don't feel safe within themselves. So they would never be able to find safety within you. No matter how much you try to create that space, no matter how much you do, what you say, or what you try to give, it's always going to be like they're on alert mode. And then, as well as the person who has been the person in survival mode mentality, it doesn't feel good because it's like you're always, like I said, on alert, panic, hypervigilance mode. Like what they got against me, what they trying to do. You see maybe everything good as they trying to do something. They're trying to get something from you. What are they wanting? Like ulterior motives. And some things even feel forced when maybe it's not, because you're still trying to navigate a world full of unknowns with fear instead of really finding the knowns. So what I've learned from having this awareness from these perspectives is that courage is definitely necessary. Like I said, when you're navigating in the unknown, fear is going to come up. I think it's a natural instinct. But to still have courage in the midst of that is your superpower. So, curating courage. Courage is necessary when you're trying to navigate in the unknown, because then it allows you to reconnect with your sense of safety, because it's allowing you to reconnect with your sense of self and creating that home within yourself where you know that you feel loved and you feel cared for and you feel nurtured and always non-judged, fully authentic, fully you. Then that's when safety can meet you, no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, no matter what. This is how you can truly unlock safety. It starts with you. So I want you to ask yourself some questions, especially when you may be going through something challenging with a friend, a loved one, a romantic partner, or even yourself, like me, having some internal questions and battles in your head. What are your knowns? Find out your knowns. Go back to childhood if you need to. Where was your sense of safety? And how are you showing up for yourself? Where do you feel most safe? How do you feel most safe? What are you doing? What does that look like for you? And how are you showing up for others? Are the way you showing up for others a reflection of yourself? Is it consistent? Is it fully authentic? Is it non-judgmental? Is it vulnerable? And lastly, I want you to also ask yourself, how are you allowing others to show up for you? Is that also consistent? Does that match with the vibrations of what you feel is true, fully authentic, vulnerable, and something that brings you peace, something that brings you back home to that sense of safety? And start to create systems for balancing all these inputs and outputs, right? To bring back safety in every way that you've ever known. Find your knowns within the sense of the unknown and keep finding that, because the more that you explore the unknown, the more things will be known. So the more that you keep exploring and answering these questions that you're asking yourself right now, is the more that you have a sense of articulation for safety, the more courage that you're going to be building, the more life that is going to keep coming and forming, because you have this beautiful sense of yourself where you feel safe, where you feel loved, where you feel pure, where you feel nurtured. And that is something that no one can ever take away from you. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation today. May you come back home to yourself in all ways. And I love that we had this conversation. I love that we was able to share this truth, that I was able to share my truth and be vulnerable with you, because it has been such a restorative process of progress that I've been going through, of finding safety, finding my home within myself. And it's been helping me to answer some questions that I've been having, to make better decisions and to make better systems, like having a schedule for my creativity, also having a schedule for meditation where I can have space to get grounded and to reconnect with my internal sense of safety before I go out into the world. I've been limiting my screen time a lot more because I noticed I've been so overstimulated by all the noise in the world. And it's just like so much, too much. So yeah, I believe that we're all coming back home. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. Guess what? You have Amani's Infinite Love on Amani's Infinite Love. Don't forget to check out infiniteinlove.com. If you want to come back home, I help you come back home to yourself, baby. We got some beautiful vibrations, some beats I make all from the heart that includes some frequencies of the earth. I got some beautiful poetry. I have a poetry book out now, Liquid Love. Definitely get it if you want to come back home to love. And what I keep talking about all the time, which is love, because it's always infinite, it's ever giving, it's ever flowing, and it's ever more. So all that I do is made with love, infinite love, all the time. So infiniteinlove.com. Check me out. You can also follow me on Instagram at infiniteloveg. I may not respond if you do reach out, but a better way to reach out to me is to subscribe to my mailing list on my website. You'll be the first to be updated on when I drop, on some blogs, on some experiences I have coming up, because the love is not going to stop, and it's going to keep coming, and it's going to keep coming stronger and full force, because baby, we are home. Baby, I'm home.